Welcome back to Out There Living. On this episode of Out There Living, we pop into the Sandfire canopy and install an ITECHWORLD BCDC40 amp charger to power our auxiliary battery in the canopy. We'll run through why we chose this charger, we'll talk a little bit about the charger, and we'll show you how we installed it. We'll also be offering you 10% discount code at itechworld.com.au across all their product range. So we'll take a look at the charger and we'll talk a little bit about it and we'll see what it comes with in the box. This is the box it comes in. As you can see in the picture here, it comes with the charger, 3 pre-wired plugs into the charger and 3 pre-wired plugs, just the short wires on them. You can see here there's a QR code. You scan that QR code with a smartphone and it will download the manual. We'll open it up. Now it looks a bit neater than this. We've put it all back in for the video. The charger itself, a little thank you note and warranty card. The 3 plugs that are wired to the unit, and there's 3 plugs with short wired ends. We've already used one up here, so it's not in the box. And then you've got your hardwired ignition override cable in there as well. So we'll take it out of the box and we'll have a little bit of a look at it. There's a thank you note there. So looking at the unit itself, you've got a strong aluminium case on it. You see on either side here you've got 2 mounting holes for screws. They're slotted. And some fins in it for dissipating heat. So it's sort of like a heat sink. We'll come around here. We've already looked at this. You've got your 3 plugs pre-wired. Your red is for your DC input from your charge battery. Your grey is for your solar input from your solar panel. And your black is your DC output to your auxiliary battery. And at the moment we're just running a bit of a Frankenstein old arc pack that's the charger's no good in it anymore. So we're going to pull that apart eventually and mount it all on a panel. So then coming out here you'll see a black wire. This black wire that runs out is the ignition override cable. So that's going to lower your cut in and cut out voltages. So it's going to cut in at 11.6 volts when the ignition override cable's on. When it's not, it won't cut in till 13 volts. And then it'll cut out at 10.8 volts with the ignition override cable connected. Without the ignition override cable connected, it'll cut out at 12.4 volts. So pretty significant cut in and cut out changes there. We'll come around to the end here. You've got a battery selector there. And you've got your status lights up the top here, so power, charging, full, or if solar's inputting. You've got down the bottom here which battery you've selected, so it can be lead, acid, AGM, calcium, or lithium. So we'll run through the process later of how to select a battery. And once more on this end, we forgot to have a look, just the technical info there. Even tells you what cable to use at what distance. I don't know if you can see that, it's a little bit blurry. But, everything you need to know is on the charger itself. Pretty handy. So I'll run through a few reasons why we chose the ITECHWORLD 40 amp BCDC charger. First and foremost, they're an Australian owned company family owned and operated out of Perth, and they employ locals, so that was important to me. Secondly, we wanted to get a charger that had the capacity to charge larger batteries. I don't know the exact figures, but there's a rule of thumb that says your charger must be 30% of the capacity of your battery, so 40 amp charger should be good for around 120 amp battery. We also wanted a charger that we're going to be able to use on the AGM now, and when we upgrade to lithium later, we can just change the settings and it's going to service that battery as well. And as I said earlier, this charger is going to do that because it does most types of batteries. It does your calcium, your gel, your AGM, and your lithium. So very versatile charger. Also, we're also looking for a charger that we could potentially use in the caravan. So this has an IP67 fully waterproof, dustproof rating. So it would go very well in the toolbox in the front box of the caravan, where it's a little bit protected but not fully. It's got a thermal overload protection in it, so you could run it in a bit of a warmer environment like your engine bay or an uninsulated canopy or on the front of your caravan, and if it's copping that little bit of heat, it's going to shut down before it cooks itself. So it could be from the ambient temperature or the running temperature or a combination of both. So it's self-temperature monitored and it'll do all that without you even knowing. So very versatile unit. And another thing with these pre-wired plugs here is it's not a hard unit to unplug and move around. Like, we could take this out in a matter of 5 minutes and put it in the caravan if we wanted to. Not that we will, we'll probably just buy another one eventually. But if we wanted to, we could do that, or move it from car to car if we wanted to take a different car. That's how simple it is. It's just 5 minutes. Another reason we got this charger is this solar input here. So you can put an unregulated solar panel in this. When I say unregulated, you can buy some solar panels that you just connect straight to your battery, and they're regulated so they're not overcharging your battery. You have to get a solar panel that doesn't have that regulator on it, because it might not put out enough volts to trigger the MPPT charger that's built into this. So as I said then, it does have an MPPT solar charger inbuilt in it, and that'll run panels from 16 to 25 volts. Anything over 25 volts is typically a house panel. Up to 45, I think, is the high voltage. So 16 to 25 volts is going to be pretty common solar panel, and it has to be unregulated once again. This charger has a reverse polarity protection. So if you don't know what reverse polarity is, it means you get your positives and your negatives mixed up and run them in reverse. You run your negative to your positive, positive to your negative, and it's going to put power where power shouldn't be, and that can be bad. But this unit, it will recognize that, and it won't allow it to proceed into the charger and cook it. It's got a power cut memory on it, so if you get your car serviced or you get a flat battery and your crank battery cuts out for any reason, this will go back to the previously selected battery, and you won't have to come and reset your battery type every time your start battery gets disconnected, which some chargers you have to. I know this old arc pack over here, every time it went flat or you disconnected it, you had to select which battery type and size every time. It was real annoying. So really is a set and forget system. We love it. Now let's talk about the installation process, how we did it. There might be a million other ways to do it, but this is just how we did it, and where we put the charger and why we put it there. Now you can see up here, we've already ran the DC input red Anderson plug that comes with the charger. We've ran the 8 AWG cable or 8 BNS twin core cable in a conduit to the engine bay, and we'll have a look at that in a second. And we're going to mount it up there. Now why we've decided to mount it up here, if you have a look here, it's right at the back of the canopy. and it's the shortest distance we can mount it from the battery in the canopy. So to there was 5 meters exactly, and you get a 5 meter roll of twin core wire from Super Cheap or Autobarn or somewhere like that. And if you look here, that is all the spare wire we had, and that's including the 150 or to 200 mil of wire that comes with the Anderson plug. So we used every last bit of the 5 meter wire. And we'll have a look here at some other things that you might need. So you might need, if you can get some wire strippers. I love these things. Some ratchet crimps, some cable lugs, some heat shrink, and some different size electrical conduits, and some either yellow tongue or green tongue strapping. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And some duct tape or electrical tape. Now a good trick is to put one screw in if you measure out where you want to put your charger. And if you remember earlier I was talking about these slotted holes. It's just another thing ITECHWORLD have done to make the installation process super easy. So get your charger in place, slide it onto your screw there, and with one hand you can hold that in place. With the other hand you can get your drill, put the diagonal screw in, and there you go, it's all in place. And then these other screws, just put them in, and that's secure. That's all you need. There we have it. Now they're timber button head screws. You might want to use self-tapping metal if you're going into metal, but I like these button head screws because they get good surface area on what they're screwing into. So here we have it. That's in place. We'll plug all them in later. We'll come back in and have a look later. We'll head round to the engine bay, talk about the cabling now. Now we're in the engine bay and we're going to have a quick look at the cabling, and then I'll show you how I ran it to the canopy. So you can see here, cable comes up in a conduit, splits off, the negative goes straight to the negative terminal, and the positive comes into a MIDI fuse and then out through a bigger cable and straight onto the positive terminal. And just be sure you don't connect your positive terminal to out here or anything, because it's going to draw through these fuses, draw extra amps and blow fuses. So go as close to the lug as you can. Now I've just used these cable lugs here and here. I've actually crimped and soldered them. If you're going to solder them, you need a fair bit of heat. You need a pretty big soldering iron. You might even need a big set of crimpers. I've got a trick I use. It works well. Might not be the perfect way to do it, but it works. So a little trick I use when using either the Anderson plug lugs or the cable lug, the eyelet style ones, is I put some bolt cutters in a vise. Get your wire, get pliers or some wire strippers and strip them off, tweak them up, put your cable in your lug, put your lug into the bolt cutters, put them in at the end first, not to here, or it can push the cable out a little bit. And make sure that's nice and firm, get it in, and just give it a firm nip up, and then go to the front one, and a firm nip up there, and there you go. Now that's just rough, that's just an example. You will put some heat shrink over there, and even if you want you can melt some solder into there as well. And it will work with these Anderson lugs as well. You just got to be very gentle when you do it. And it is best to put some solder in there if you can. So if you look here, you can see this cable runs down and under to the chassis rail. Now I'm probably going to move this all sooner rather than later and tidy it up a little bit. It's a little bit messy. Then we'll come down here and we'll have a look under the car. Probably not going to see a lot, but you'll get a general idea. So you can see there the cable runs down from the engine bay and along the chassis rail. There's another one there that's for another Anderson plug on the back of the car. Now, a good trick for running cable through tight spots is get a bit of this stiff plastic. It comes in flooring sheeting, or you can actually buy it from electrical wholesalers. And you just tape the cable or the conduit or whatever you're pulling to this, and then this will be easy to feed through. Pops out one end and then you gently pull it through. We ran the cable in the conduit and pulled it all through in one go. We ran it along the chassis rail near where there's some other wiring up there. I wasn't exactly sure where to run it, so I just followed existing cables, which was done by an auto elect, so it must be okay spot to run it. So you run it from your engine bay, down your chassis, and then up into your canopy. And with the Ford Ranger, it's exactly 5 meters to the back of the canopy from their battery. So there you go. So the cable comes up from the chassis and up this gap here between the canopy and the car. And I've drilled a hole and it goes into the back of there. Now for the solar, I've been able to use one of these gland nuts, but I didn't have one big enough for there, so I just put the conduit straight into the hole and Sikaflexed it, which should seal up good enough anyway. So we're now in the back of the canopy. We've got power to the Anderson plug there, and the charger is mounted, and we'll just run through the hookup and setup process. Now you want to get your red Anderson plug here and plug that into the input. Now I'm doing this all one-handed because I'm holding a GoPro, that's how easy it is. And the black one is your DC output. So today we're going to the Frankenstein box here. This is the grey plug. The grey will go to the black and the black will go to the grey, but grey and black won't go to red. So red to red and everything else will go. So you've got to be careful that you don't plug your auxiliary battery into your solar. I had this pre-wired and ready to go, so it's not black. But where you can, it's better off using your color-coded plugs. So we'll plug that one in or to there, and we'll fire the car up. So I've just started the car, and you wait till the alternator and the charge battery start putting out 13 volts, and here we go. Power and charge comes on, and the AGM light comes on, which is the AGM is the standard battery setting. But if you want to change the battery type, all you do is you unplug your auxiliary battery, you push your orange button, select which battery type, lithium, lead acid, calcium or AGM, and then you plug your auxiliary back in, and straight away starts charging. And we look here on the smart shunt, and it's got plus 215 watts going in while the car is idling, and that's without the ignition override cable plugged in. So I know a lot of people run without ever plugging the ignition override cable in, but with a lot of smart alternators you just have to put it in. We haven't needed to yet. But what you're best to do for that is take it to an auto elec and get them to connect it to an ignition accessory source, because the new cars are just so particular. They don't like you stealing extra voltage off things, and it'll just send your car into meltdown mode. So there you have it. One of the easiest installs you can do for 12 volt equipment. This is going to get tidied up. I'm going to put a little panel in there, but for now that's all you need to do to get it to work. That's simple. It really is a set and forget system and very user friendly. So we've had the BCDC40 amp charger in the Sandfire canopy for a couple months now. The first half of that we had a solar panel connected. At the moment we haven't got a solar panel on it, and just with day-to-day driving it's keeping the battery at 95 to 99%, and it's probably with an hour or two driving every day. And we haven't got the ignition override connected yet, as I said earlier. So it's working extremely well, and it's doing everything that we need it to. We will put a solar panel on this so we can utilize the MPPT charger that's built into the charger. Just taking the regulators off it and mounting it, and then it'll be connected. We will get a new panel eventually. We'll get one off ITECHWORLD.com.au. If you want to get a new solar panel or a DC-DC charger, an inverter, a lithium battery, generator, or any other 12 volt gear that they've got on offer, then just head to ITECHWORLD.com.au, and at the checkout enter the discount code out there living, and you'll get a 10% discount on all products store wide. Just bear in mind you can't use the code on any product that's been already discounted, so you can't double discount. Unfortunately, it'd be nice, but people end up getting stuff for free. So yeah, our experience so far with this charger, it's delivered everything it's promised. It's up there with the best. Price wise, it's pretty reasonable price, you know, for what you're getting. The Mount Anywhere ones that are dust proof, waterproof, in the 40 amp seem to be a lot more expensive than this one. You can get a similar price one, but it's not waterproof and dust proof, and it's only built to go inside canopies and weather protected areas. So that's one of the best points of this price point of this charger, is it offers that IP67 rating. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for some more episodes. Get onto itechworld.com.au. Don't forget to use the discount code. Here it is again. And just remember, whatever it takes, get out there living.